everyone, coming up here on the Pro Wrestling Show presents the SmackDown Ring Report. As we getting set and gearing up for Survivor Series, as you see right here, the SmackDown World Cup Tournament first round continues as Mustafa Ali takes on Ricochet. Which one of these two are high flyers will advance to the SmackDown World Cup and move on? That's not the first of two World Cup matches as well as Butch, representing England, takes on Sami Zayn with the Bloodline. This has Survivor Series implications already. We know that Sami Zayn and Butch will be part of the Survivor Series match, Team Bloodline versus Team Brawling Brutes. We'll see that match as well as Chauncey looks to get her hands on retribution, revenge on Shayna Baszler after Shayna blindsided her last week. Chauncey gained momentum as she heads to Survivor Series, taking on Ronda Rousey in their Women's Championship match. We'll talk about that. As well as Bray Wyatt makes amends. Who is Bray Wyatt making amends to? We kind of got an idea of who he wants to make amends to, and it didn't go out the way he planned, but we'll talk about it as well. Plus, too, we talk about on Hot Topics the celebration of 10 years. Shea, India, the Shea. All three men are former world champions. Some are current world champions working in current promotion. And what does this lead celebrating 10 years of excellence from the Shield? We'll get to it and much more as the Pro Wrestling Show presents the SmackDown Ring Report. And it starts right now. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this edition of the Pro Wrestling Show presents the SmackDown Ring Report. I'm your host, as always, Kendra Dix here. Glad you can join us here on the Pro Wrestling Show. Thank you all for watching. Join in the conversation using the hashtag Pro Wrestling here on Connect. And don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe, Ms. Karen. Tell a friend, call a friend, hit that subscribe button so you won't miss a thing here on the Pro Wrestling Show. What a show we have for you. What an amazing SmackDown was. But like I said, join in the conversation using the hashtag Pro Wrestling. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss a thing here. And you won't hit that subscribe button, click that notification bell to be notified for all shows, including the Pro Wrestling Show, where pro wrestling matters. All right. We thank you all for watching. Let's get started with the SmackDown Ring Report. SmackDown Ring Report kicked off with this. We're going to tell you later on tonight of what's happening on SmackDown. We'll get to the World Cups coming up right now, but we're going to kick things off with this. The Brawling Brutes. We know the Brawling Brutes want to get their hands on the Bloodline. We know that Sheamus and Drew McIntyre putting their differences of past, saying that they've been battling each other for 20 years, their knowledge of history. Who can forget when Sheamus and Drew had that fantastic match? Winner gets a match against Roman at Clash at the Castle. Sheamus didn't win the match, but he gained respect of Drew. For both guys admiration and respect. But the admiration and respect quickly turns into feuds. We know that within next week, this is the match right here slated. War Games. War Games, the Bloodline will take on the Brawling Brutes in War Games. You can see right here, led by Roman Reigns, led by the Undisputed Universal Champion, Roman Reigns, including with the Tag Team Champions, the Undisputed Tag Team Champions, the Usos, the Honorary Us, Sami Zayn, and Sora Sakai, who is the Enforcer, taking on the Bloodline, taking on the Brawling Brutes, I meant to say, led by Sheamus, with his team of Butch and Rich Holland, and honorary Brawling Brute, Drew McIntyre. But we're trying to figure out who's the fifth man. Who is the fifth man in this team? Well, that's what Sami Zayn wanted to know. And he probably didn't get his answer that he wanted. But Sami Zayn trying to figure out who's that fifth man. And they didn't elaborate. Even too, the Usos tried to elaborate too, thinking it was Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross made it clear crystal clear that he's not part of the Brawling Brutes. He's saying if he wants Roman, he'll get Roman himself, one way or another. And I think Karrion Kross made it crystal clear on that. He's not part of the Brawling Brutes. But it kind of led speculation with all these, with even Sami Zayn saying that the bloodline feeling oozy to want to know who is joining this group. That's what kind of eating them inside and trying to see who's leading the group. But all we can know is right now, everyone kind of know. We'll get to it later on in the show. But the we know the Brawling Brutes, Sheamus, Butch, Ridge Holland, and Drew McIntyre um, will meet we'll meet the bloodline at Survivor Series, and with Universal Champion Roman Reigns, he has a lot on his plate, and he celebrated a milestone, and we'll talk about that milestone a little bit later in the show. So we get to action right now. We talk about this, the SmackDown World Cup. We know Ricochet from SmackDown representing the United States versus Mustafa Ali representing Pakistan, and from Monday Night Raw, Mustafa Ali making a guest appearance, taking on Ricochet to advance in the World Cup. But it wasn't the case. Ricochet pulls the win on Mustafa Ali in this style of high flyers, but a matter of respect by both men at the end. Mustafa Ali came try to have some injury on his ribs, but it wasn't the case. Mustafa Ali put up a fight, a decent fight, but he wasn't able to win in his match. Also, too, we know that Emma's back and she's trying to start up a romance with a real life boyfriend, Madcap Moss. I guess Emma and Madcap Moss are a real life couple, but they're trying to play it on television. And Emma trying to provide the assistance. I don't know what it's going to lead to, but Madcap Moss lost his match in a feud against Karrion Kross. Will we be seeing a mixed tag team match between these two? Karrion and Scarlett taking on Emma and Madcap. Who knows? It's a possibility. But we can tell and see. Speaking of that, the New Day made a appearance trying to make fun of Imperium, and Imperium made fun of them, saying they don't take wrestling serious. They too comical. And the New Day felt like offended by it. It really did feel offended. But really at the end, when those teams met, New Day offered a challenge, a 6-man tag team challenge, and none other than Braun Strowman, the Monster Among Men, that Jeff Jarrett like to say, the giant with red skinny pants, made an appearance, and he took on Gunther, and Braun and the New Day won. But this gives me an indication: could we be seeing Gunther and Braun Strowman wrestle each other in a match? It's a possibility that could happen. Gunther and Braun Strowman. All Braun Strowman got to do now is win that World Cup, and he will be the number one contender for the Intercontinental title. We know that Ricochet advanced, and Ricochet will move on to meet whoever Ricochet advances, but he will meet Braun Strowman next week in the Intercontinental in the World Cup final. So Ricochet, Braun Strowman, that should be a doozy. Speaking of that, LA Knight made an appearance. He made an appearance. He was trying to make amends with Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt trying to make amends to LA Knight on what had happened. LA Knight, Bray Wyatt had that little confrontation. The confrontation got a little bit weary, if you ask me. LA Knight slapped Bray, and Bray didn't know how to respond. Bray took it as a champ, but Bray did something damaging to me. Bray Wyatt, before LA Knight was trying to go to his place and trying to go outside, you see right there behind the door, he got met with somebody that he didn't know existed. Well, at the end right here, LA Knight got ambush attacked, everything got put on top of him. A keg and you name it. LA Knight just got pulled down. Officials and stuff trying to pull apart the damage that LA Knight had suffered. But LA Knight suffered a real big doozy. Crossing Bray Wyatt, and we don't know what's going to happen with that coming up. But It ended up being that way. So you know how that be. LA Knight ran his mouth and tried to be a coward, but at the end he paid for it with the hands of Bray Wyatt. I can say that right now. All right. Speaking of that, we know that at Survivor Series, we can tell right here, Bronze, the Bloodline versus the Brawling Brutes at the Survivor Series. You can see this Team Bloodline versus Team Brawling Brutes Survivor Series. A lot of implications at Survivor Series. We'll talk about that. Even Chauncey went against Shayna Baszler. Chauncey trying to get revenge on Shayna and what Shayna did to her. Chauncey got the revenge, got the upper hand with the help of Raquel Rodriguez. Raquel Rodriguez helping out her friend Chauncey over the attack over Ronda Rousey, getting the best of SmackDown Women's Champ Ronda Rousey and her friend Shayna Baszler. I think Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler don't know who they messing with. And look for Raquel Rodriguez to be a star in the making. She's tall, she's beautiful, she has the total package. She could be a women's champion in the near future. I could see that down the road. But we'll see. We know next week there will be a tag team match. Chauncey and Raquel team up against Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. I think Ronda Rousey with this new heel gimmick works for her very well. I tell you. So we'll tell you about that. Also, too, we know next week on SmackDown they did a rundown. These are the matches that are going to happen next week. Braun Strowman versus Ricochet. Braun Strowman versus Ricochet next week. This is an average David versus Goliath match. Braun Strowman versus Ricochet. Could Braun Strowman advance on, defeat Ricochet to move on to take on Gunther? I mean, that match right there with Gunther, it was kind of ridiculous. Also, too, Butch takes on Santos Escobar. He defeated Sami Zayn. Butch getting the win over Sami Zayn. Well, we might well say Butch won his match over Sami Zayn, but we tell you later before we get down to the rundown what had happened. But Butch won his match over Sami Zayn. Butch will meet Santos Escobar next week on SmackDown. And whoever advances goes on to meet Braun Strowman on the Ricochet match. Also, too, Chauncey Blackheart and Raquel Rodriguez taking on SmackDown Women's Champion Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. You'll see that match. And to an added bonus to Survivor Series for a match to be bonus. Drew McIntyre and Sheamus team up against the tag team champions of the Undisputed World, the Usos, for an advantage match, tag team advantage match. Who's going to get advantage for their team? Will it be the Brawling Brutes or the Bloodline? We'll just have to wait and see and find out. But the Universal Champion, the Undisputed Champion, Roman Reigns, made a appearance. Roman Reigns he got a lot going on. We're talking about the Brawling Brutes right now. The Brawling Brutes trying to send the message and stuff. But Roman Reigns came out there with the Brawling Brutes. And Roman Reigns trying to chaos destruction and chaos in the order. But the Brawling Brutes stand tall with a fifth member, and that fifth member is Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens will join the team at Survivor Series, join the Brawling Brutes, a 5-on-5 War Games match. So Kevin Owens joins the fray, takes on Roman Reigns and Sami in a match that I'm waiting to see. That's going to be a good Survivor Series. These two teams want to beat the hell out of each other. Let them beat the fuck out of each other. And they do it at Survivor Series. And we'll see that match at Survivor Series for real. So kudos to them. Clean Bloodline versus the Brawling Brutes with Kevin Owens added to the team. We'll see that match at Survivor Series next week. Don't forget, next week, no SmackDown Ring Report. It'll be just predict the outcome for Survivor Series War Games. So look for that match coming for way who I believe will win War Games and what the factors will be heading towards that match. All right. We move forward. Right quick to Hot Topics. On Hot Topics this week, we talking about, speaking of the Undisputed Champion, Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns celebrates a milestone. 10 years ago on this day, Roman Reigns debuted at Survivor Series with fellow team members, unknowns, Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. They call themselves the Shield. They provide a whole lot of chaos destruction. Many people consider them the greatest tag team tandem faction in WWE history. Roman Reigns was part of that team, and Roman Reigns led that team successfully. You thought everyone knew that Roman was the company's chosen one, and Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose were the indie guys that stood beside him. But everyone knew that Roman was being built, and he's being built to this day as what he is the man for right now. But as you see right here, this is the difference right now. All three men are holding gold on their respective shows. I wish that Seth Rollins would have been holding the WWE gold and Roman would have been holding the Universal gold, but Roman holding both golds. But he ain't defending. He defending them, but he ain't defending like he should be defending them. And Dean Ambrose is now Jon Moxley. He's defending his gold for AEW, but he has a big championship match coming up in a couple of days. But it's a good look at how Roman and all of them grew within those 10 years. So congratulations to the Shield on 10 years. Who knows? Will they reunite? We never will know. So who knows? Speaking of that, Impact Wrestling, we don't never talk about Impact Wrestling enough. Trey Miguel won the X Division champion, is a two-time X Division champion. Plus two former WWE SmackDown Tag Team champions, Heath, and Rhino are retaining the Impact World Tag Team titles, as well as Deonna Purrazzo calling out Mickie James, so they could have a feud down the road, one way or another. Also, too, Taya Valkyrie and Jessica win the women's tag team titles, as well as Bully Ray showing that age ain't nothing but a number. He came out of retirement, defeating Moose in the tables match by sparing him. And the Motor City Machine Guns are still the number one contenders for the Impact World title. So congratulations to Impact on the day night, but ain't getting them much traction. But hey, it is what it is. It ain't a toxic brand like the NWA, like they like to say. Plus, two Hall of Famer Jake the Snake Roberts made a quote tweet saying that he's off the oxygen for good, standing tall, doing great, and again, sweet life living. So he's coming back to AEW sooner rather than later. That's good that the legendary Jake the Snake Roberts coming back with the snake and coming back to talk. I mean, when you look at it, Jake the Snake Roberts had a phenomenal year in 1992. I look back on his podcast. He talked about his match with Sting, and he was making more sense than ever before. So Jake the Snake Roberts back. Plus two, Randy Orton. We talked about Randy Orton earlier this week that he's been in the hospital getting back surgery, allegedly, in Birmingham to recover. So Randy Orton might be out of action for now, but we don't know when he'll come back in a timetable. But we hope he have a speedy recovery. As his wife posted that photo of him. Plus two, Jeff Hardy. Looking forward to his DUI trial, whenever that might be coming soon. And hopefully Jeff Hardy getting himself together. We haven't heard no bad news later, so that's a good thing. Also, too, AEW is considering stripping Thunder Rosa out of the AEW Women's title. Okay. I mean, if she's not defending it like you think she should have made Toni Storm the Women's Champion and Thunder Rosa. It's just plain and simple. So, hey, it is what it is. Also, too, wrestling personality and wrestling journalist, broadcaster, Chris Van Vliet announced that he's expecting to be a dad, and we want to wish our condolences, our happiness for our condolences, but our happiness for Chris Van Vliet. He follows the Twitter page, our Twitter account, and we thank Chris for that, and we wish him the best on him being a coming up dad. So congratulations to Chris Van Vliet. Plus, two, FTR made announcement. Tony Khan made an announcement said he wanted FTR versus the Briscoes, but Warner Media didn't want that because of the Briscoes making that one of them made anti comment about what. Hey, what it is. WWE is interested in bringing Jonah back, so could be seeing Jonah coming back sooner rather than later. So hey, Jonah could be coming back. Also, too, we've been hearing reports that Stone Cold Steve Austin, not Logan Paul, wants to wrestle, and John Cena wants to. They want to make this WrestleMania the biggest WrestleMania of all time. They want to bring John Cena, but Logan Paul interested in a match against Cena. So hey. Plus, too, The Rock talked about his night at Survivor Series when he went against when he was debuted at Rocky Maivia. They'll show that one day on Young Rock, so you probably see it someday. Young Rock. So and to Dean Ambrose with that um Malachi Black with his wife Selena Vega. There's a lot going on. All right, we're gonna end that with that. We're gonna end it with this: the Brawling Brutes standing tall over the bloodline, making their declaration that they're coming for the bloodline at Survivor Series, one way or another. So, for me being Kendrick Dixon so long, we'll see you next week for another edition of the Pro Wrestling Show. See you later. Y'all have a great weekend. See you later.